Did you miss last month's Progress Wrestling Chapter 172 Werewolves of London show? Or did you simply just fancy a recap before the next event this Sunday? Well, if so, you're in the right place because I'm Ben Allison here at Wrestling Republic, and today we're going to be recapping that show with highlights from it, courtesy of Progress Wrestling themselves. So thank you to them, and let's get straight into it. We kick things off with a man who previously held the Progress World Championship for 791 days, Cara Noir, who recently returned after 15 months on the shelf with a foot injury. But while some competitors may want to slowly ease themselves back into competition, Noir jumped in head first as he took on a legend of the professional wrestling business, a former champion all over the globe, Kenta, for the Defy World Championship, a belt which Kenta had held for over 500 days. The match kicked off with a bang as Kenta took control before the bell even rang. But no matter what Kenta hit Noir with, Noir would hit back harder, strike after strike, suplex after suplex, and it was brutal. It was a banger, and the two had really great chemistry despite the fact this was the first time they'd ever faced each other. And for a second, it felt like I was watching the old Kenta, the Kenta from his days in Noah, a man who hits hard but plays fair and earns the respect of everyone he steps in the ring with. And then I remembered he's in Bullet Club nowadays as he grabbed the ropes and stole the victory. The best part at the end was the crowd were chanting for VAR to overturn the decision. I mean, this is why British wrestling crowds are the best. Gene Money then came out and explained his tag partner, Session Moth Martina, didn't turn up as she hit her head on concrete the night before. Now, I don't know if this was at a wrestling event or she simply partied too hard the night before. With Session Moth Martina, either is possible. But instead, Will Cruz joined him to take on Batman and Robin? Oh yeah, this was Progress Wrestling's Halloween show. I probably should have clarified that before we started, otherwise this might seem very, very confusing. But Money pulled off the mask off Batman during the match and revealed that it was Chuck Mambo, despite the fact the crowd were chanting Bruce Wayne when he unmasked him. Seriously, the best crowd in the business. But Money and Cruz did manage to get the win over Bruce Mambo and TK Robin in the end. Up next, we had The Experience challenge the Smoking Aces for the Progress Tag Team Championship as they hope to become the first all-female Progress Tag Team Champions. And it was safe to say the crowd was behind them, and they had a good start, with it all seeming like the Smoking Aces weren't on the same page. They kept basically crashing into each other, all the double team moves were going wrong, while The Experience looked like a well-oiled machine. However, at the end, thanks to the referee getting distracted, the Smoking Aces got the win and retained their belts, much to the displeasure of the Progress faithful. Then it was time for the Progress Men's World Championship match, as Man Like the Reese got the opportunity to challenge the world champion, Luke Jacobs. Now, I often talk about how impressive it is that Luke Jacobs is on the run he's currently on, at only the age of 24, and that is extremely impressive. But I don't feel like I've talked enough about Man Like DeReese and how it's so impressive what he's done at the age of 27. These are two of the best young athletes in professional wrestling, not just British wrestling, the entire wrestling scene right now, and the sky is the limit for both of them. Luke Jacobs recognized the threat that DeReese brought to his title and attacked him during his entrance. And you'd be forgiven for presuming the opener of the show between Kenta and Cara Noir would be the hardest hitting of the night, but Jacobs and DeReese took it to a whole other level. They both hit each other with everything in their arsenals, from lariats to cutters, but neither of them would give up. Until DeReese went up to the top rope and hit the 450, a move which would usually end it all, until a masked man dragged the referee out of the ring, saving the champion and helping him retain the title. We would later find out the man behind the mask was Ethan Allen, the tag partner of Luke Jacobs, who returned to Progress from a long injury that kept him out of action for Progress for nearly 3 years. Once again highlighting the fact that despite all the talent and potential Luke Jacobs has, he is still inclined to find a shortcut to victory. Ethan Allen will actually be interviewed on this week's episode of Sunday Night Spotlight, which will air as a special edition on this Friday instead. So make sure you guys check it out then, because he will certainly be asked about his actions. Up next, things were about to get wild as Connor Mills, Zosiah, Mike D and Ricky Knight battled it out in a 4-way, which, as you would expect, was completely insane. Mike D's athleticism for somebody of his size is just absolutely insane in itself. Josiah impresses me every time I see what he can do at such a young age. Connor Mills' strikes are as stiff as usual, and Ricky Knight Jr.'s slaps could be heard from the other side of the country. It was a banger, literally. This was certainly more of a sprint compared to a marathon, but it was absolutely brilliant. I just wish it did last a bit longer, as it only went 8 minutes, and I could watch these four wrestle all day long, and they got a standing ovation after the match. Ricky Knight Jr. got the victory and got back to his winning ways in Progress following his loss to Kenta a couple of months ago, and now has his sights set on Progress World Champion Luke Jacobs, making the challenge following the win. Jacobs and RKJ have faced off twice in Progress in the past 12 months, with the record currently being tied at 1-1, though a third match for the biggest prize in Progress seems inevitable. Up next, we have the Proteus Championship match, a championship which is defended under the stipulation of the champion, which in the case of the current champion Paul Robinson is a knockout or a tap out. Robinson had held the championship for 1,869 days at this point. That's over 5 years, and in that time, he had only had 9 title defenses. And you guys complained about Roman Reigns not defending his title much. The challenger was none other than Simon Miller, who was fighting to try and win his first championship in Progress Wrestling. And while most of you will know Miller from being a wrestling content creator or even a commentator, over the past couple of years he has proved that he can go in the ring, and his love for wrestling is almost unmatched. And what was massively noticeable in this match was the size difference between the two competitors, but with the title having a no DQ stipulation, for 5 years that hadn't been an issue for Robinson being a smaller guy, but against Simon Miller, it all proved to just be too much. Congratulations to Simon for winning his first championship in Progress Wrestling, well deserved. Up next, we have the former NXT and TNA Tag Team Champions, Mark Andrews and Floss Morgan Webster, collectively known as Subculture, take on Tate Mayfairs and Eddie Dennis. Now, there is a lot of history in the ring with Dennis and Andrews. Of course, they were former Tag Team Champions together and then bitter rivals, but this match wasn't about that. It was about whether or not Dennis and Mayfairs could coexist after Mayfairs threw the towel in when Dennis challenged Luke Jacobs for the Progress Championship at the last chapter. But after Mark Andrews pushed Dennis into Mayfairs, everything between the two broke down and it cost them the match. It went into complete and utter chaos, and Tate Mayfairs was not a happy man. Up next, it was time for the main event between two competitors from the North, as the Progress World Women's Championship was on the line as the champion Rio took on Lizzie Evo. Rio has held the Progress Women's Championship for over a year at this point, and had the second longest reign in Progress Women's history. But the challenger Lizzie Evo finally felt it was her time. After being in Progress for over 3 years, Evo had not once managed to win the championship. And this clearly filled her with a level of jealousy towards her former friend Rio, and that turned to hatred, with the two having multiple backstage confrontations multiple times throughout the show. And with the match having a no DQ stipulation, the two could finally settle their issues with the championship on the line. It started out hot right out of the gate, with Rio deciding to cut her usual entrance short and run into the ring to attack Lizzie Evo. And the brutality continued throughout. These two threw everything at each other, literally in some cases when it came to weapons, and went strike for strike, showing how much this championship means to them. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this was genuinely one of the best independent wrestling matches I've seen this year. But no matter what these two hit each other with, it wasn't enough. Kick out after kick out, but in the end Rio had to choke out Evo for the referee to call the match and for her to retain her championship. What a match, what a show. If you guys want to check out any of these matches in full, or just the show as a whole, you can check it out on Demand Progress Plus, and you can use our exclusive code WatchProgress1 to get 50% off your first month. And if you sign up now, this Sunday you will get to watch their next event, Progress Wrestling 173, Stay Young and Invincible. And as well as that, the next weekend they have another show, their super show Vendetta 2, as El Hijo del Vikingo will be taking on Caro Noir. What a match that's going to be. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment down below. We really do appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next one. Bye, peace.